Why is it that when we're presented with some variety of inclement weather, the presumption is made that girls are stupid and they don't know how to drive or problem solve? Help me understand. So I go for this drive every morning. It's an integral part of my day. I shoveled out my car last night. I did it again this morning. I necessitate the ability to chain smoke a solid 2 hours before I start my day, or I'm not only a bitchy banker, I'm a bitch in general. So I take myself for a trip to town at 4 in the morning. And what do I find? 2 little girls by the gas station in a Honda. They're probably late teens, early 20s, likely hungover drunk, because at that age, that's the only reason I would be out in this shit. And I mean, they ain't trying to go to work, because you call your boss and tell you, fuck you, like, look at this. But the hangover doesn't really care. It's coming for your ass anyways. They need to go home and chug some Pedialyte, okay? That's the only reason you can drive in this shit. So I'm getting gas, and I am kind of like taking an inventory. You know, I can't push the car. I mean, that's not happening. I can't push the car. But I'm not about to leave, you know, a comrade in arms. So, what do you know? Billy Jack, presumably, and his big fancy truck that gets 5 miles to the gallon shows up to save the day. Now, I've taken an inventory of what I've got to troubleshoot this situation, and what I've come up with is 1.5 gallons of de-icer windshield cleaner shit. I have a giant squeegee, about a case of 80 proof rubbing alcohol hand sanitizer, and what folks like to tell me is some variety of moss, but I actually collected it on a bird watching expedition last summer and put it in my trunk because I really believe it might be Sasquatch hair. I'll send it off to get DNA testing as soon as I quit losing money on Apple in the stock market and I can afford it. So, but I've got it in the trunk. Okay. So Billy Jack is pushing and doing whatever he's doing, and I'm kind of sitting here watching like an asshole. And then, you know, I decide, okay. Ultimately, now here's the thing. Like, when boys are doing shit like this, you can't just roll in with like a fix, because you're gonna emasculate them and then they turn into assholes. And if they actually did have any type of assistance to bring to the table, it's gone at that point. And, you know, sometimes you occasionally run into like a serious asshole. So, okay, we're not gonna do that. But like 20 minutes in, these ladies are cold. The hangover is coming for them. This guy is getting, you know, a little pushy, nice, but pushy. So hey, you know, I have this de-icer here. I don't know if it's a thing. It might help. You are welcome to it. She takes it from me. She's excited. Let's go, right? And this guy takes the gallon and shoves it back at her like she's a fucking idiot. Like, what the hell are you doing? That's for windshields. Okay. Alright, because it only melts ice on windshields, apparently. So, Billy Jack is, you know, he's pushing, and she's driving, and they're not getting anywhere. 10 minutes later, she's hot enough. So, she grabs this shit and douses, you know, her tires with it. And the car is moving. Holy shit. She's not completely out of the woods, but like the car's moving. So then I'm like, hey, I got some Sasquatch hair in my trunk, and you know, they have really coarse hair. I feel like it's probably gonna offer some traction to get you out. You are welcome to it, honey. She looks at me like, what? You're trying to give me Sasquatch hair? But then she looks at Billy Jack and she's like, I'm fucking in. So she takes it. She puts down this like dry moss, a couple of sticks it was attached to. She gets out and she's on her way. But Billy Jack stops her, okay? Which is dumb in this kind of weather. Once you're moving, don't fucking stop. But what he had to say next was so important. He was going to risk it for the biscuit. So he proceeds to start telling her what she did wrong. Well, hun, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. You always turn your wheel 93 degrees to the right on an uphill and blah, blah. Billy Jack, the only mistake she made was driving a Honda in the snow. It doesn't affect her IQ at all. And that Honda, like 300 some odd days a year, is an exquisite choice because it gets like 400 miles to the gallon and she can afford it. You, on the other hand, but 2 days a year, she does legitimately have a problem. So if she could just manage to, I don't know, stay sober for 48 hours in the middle of winter when Snowpocalypse happens, she's golden. You, on the other hand, drunk or not, rain or shine, can't afford to drive that son of a bitch. You have a problem every day of the week, Billy Jack. And my guess is, Billy Jack, you're gonna have to take out a fucking payday loan to pay for the gas you just expended trying to get this Honda out. And then it's gonna overdraft your account when they come for the money. You're gonna call me. You're gonna want your your overdraft fees back, and I'm gonna tell you no. You be nice to girls and don't talk to them like they're stupid. Now, I like chivalry. I think it's a very fine art. It's unfortunately a dying one. Chivalry does not need to include condescension. Not at all. These ladies were very bright. You know, young, lacking a little experience, but they're bright. So, if you're gonna stop and help a lady, or anybody for that matter, do it. It's the right thing to do if you're able. But don't make the presumption that they're in this boat because they're stupid, because that's not what's happening. They can actually afford to put gas in their tank, and they ain't got no fees, and they got no payday loan, and they got their shit together. So go fuck yourself, Billy Jack.